Wanted to talk about something that I think is very important. A lot of guys are wondering, okay, what does it take to get to the next level? What is a strong work ethic? Things like that. I have kids asking me this. I have parents asking me this. And since I've been a coach for the last 10 plus years, I've been asked things in a similar vein. When I was in Texas, parents would be like, what does it take? How hard is hard work? And I'll just give you an idea of some of the things that I did to give you just maybe, this is what I did to get to professional baseball. And I'm not, maybe the most talented person of all time. I'm not 6'4". I'm not whatever, but I did make it very, very far, farther than 99.99% of people. And it did take a lot of work. My background, um, as far as my family, my dad was a wrestler, wrestled in Athletes in Action at Long Beach State Division One, wrestled against Olympians, and his dad was a wrestling coach. All of his brothers were wrestlers, and so that's his mindset and philosophy when it came to training me. That's what his background of what hard work is, and he would always tell me growing up, you play football, you play baseball, you play basketball, but nobody ever says that you play wrestling. Wrestling is war. And that's the basic mindset. So he would talk about guys that made it to a high level, guys that were Olympians, guys that were Division One, talking about his own mindset. And he would say guys would be going to bed at night, waking up in the middle of the night before the Olympics, maybe weeks out, months out, and they would be in a panic. And then they would start doing push ups because they would be thinking, the Russians are training right now. I have to be training. I have to be doing something. And that's the type of mindset that you see with guys that make it a long way. I remember when I was just a kid, I had a shirt that said, suffer now and for the rest of your life, be a champion. I remember, for example, in Little League, and my dad was it was crazy. He was having me train hours every single day. I'm like, Dad, how come I can't be average? And I remember this very specifically. And he looked at me and actually with disgust, to be honest, why would you ever want to be average? He told me, why would you want to be average? And that stuck with me. And I guess it just was not acceptable in my household to be average. And that mindset permeated everything, permeated my sports, but I did well at school and my sisters did well. They were top students, went to top schools. They're both computer programmers. But that was the type of mindset that I had growing up. Why would you want to be average? And so it was crazy. And then some people might say, well, you missed out on some things growing up. And it's like, maybe, but certainly don't think, oh man, I wish I could go back and do what? Hang out with friends more? No, I got to pursue what I was good at, and I got to at least get as close as I could to maximizing my potential. And my only regret, honestly, only regret is that I would have given even more to that, even more to baseball, even more to maximizing my potential, even more to weightlifting. And like I said, I will give you some ideas. So when I first started playing baseball, my dad took me out when I was 7 years old, and it was every single day from that age, playing catch every day. And that continued, and then I got a little bit older, and it was every day, just going out ground balls for hours. And I got pretty good pretty quickly, and then I was an all-star. I was, doing well. Then as soon as I was like 11, 12, started lifting weights, started doing calisthenics, plyometrics. I remember things I would do with my dad. We would go to the library and he'd get books on plyometrics. He built boxes for me in my garage. He had weight sets for me. He had all these things. And this was an everyday thing. And fortunately, I actually love this. And that's the thing is it's hard to really force somebody to train like this, to train hours and hours every single day. But I love doing it. And I remember I had the Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I got this when I was probably like 12 years old, and this book really transformed my life. So then when I was working out with my dad or working out in the garage, I was imagining myself as, one of these bodybuilders. I was imagining growing my body, and I had these goals, and these things, they stuck with me even though it was from a very young age. And but my dad facilitated it. So I remember early on as a 12-year-old in Little League, working out for months, and my dad taking me out to the Little League fields, soft toss, and then thinking, okay, a couple months ago, before I was working out, couldn't hit it out. Now I'm hitting it out in soft toss. And so that stuck with me at an early age. Like, wow, this is hard work, but I liked it. It's fun, hard work, and the results are huge. And then that type of stuff just continued more and more as I got older with protein shakes, basically forcing me to eat a lot of food, a lot of, you know, I'll give you the best example. Um, so first of all, always working hard. In high school, I would go to high school practice for hours and hours every single day. Then I would go to MVP sports training, which was, they have the different sports facilities today, like Bimal, like whatever, and you pay, and it's small groups or it's individual training. And I would do that basically every single day in high school, held almost all the records for 18 and under, and some for just everybody. 18 and under strength to weight ratio records, high jump record or vertical records, long jump records, 40-yard dash records, everything. And that's the level that I was at. But it was every day. This is what I did. This is how I grew up every single day. And I remember, I was strong. I got recruited to be on a weightlifting team at just like a visit to a college, visit to UCI, just, hanging out in the weight room. And I was I think I squatted 225, just hanging out, just messing around. And then they came, I looked so easy doing it. And then the strength coach came up to me and my dad, hey, we know you're here for baseball, but if you come here, you can join the weightlifting team. So that's how into it I was. That's how much I loved um, working out, things like that. But then graduating high school on the roster for my senior season, I was only 157, super strong, but 157. Then going into college, LMU Division One, started more than half the season at second base, um, but didn't have a lot of power because I was like 157 to 160 something freshman year. And I'll never forget one thing that happened during batting practice. We're working on different situations. Coach says, okay, runner on third, get him home. And I'm trying to hit a sac fly. He says, you don't have enough power to hit a sac fly. You need to hit a ground ball. And I'm like, this hurt. It's like, look, I'm 19 years old and my ego is shot. I don't have enough power to hit a sac fly. And I remember how much that got to me. And so I'm like 160 something. And then towards the end of that year, and then the entire off season, I was living in the weight room. And this is where you see it goes from something your dad is telling you to do, something your coach is telling you to do, something that's coming extrinsically from the outside, to where it becomes intrinsic from the inside out, a motivation on the inside. And that's what it became. So my motivation on the inside, I need to get bigger and stronger because I can't live with myself. I can't be that guy that can't hit the sac fly. And I work with guys all the time and they're, oh, I'm the small guy. I'm the guy that doesn't hit the ball deep. Why? Why not decide to get bigger and stronger? And so I did. I think I was 190 something, started the next year, got up to 210 at my biggest, 210 pounds, maybe 212, something like that. Gigantic, squatting 535, deadlifting 500, bench pressing close to 400 pounds. And I ended up hitting 22 home runs in college, ended up tying doubles record in college as a hitter, ended up throwing 96 miles an hour. And this is the type of thing where you say, oh, well, if you see it at the end result, well, Joe was strong. Joe had all these things. He was a really gifted athlete. And I was a gifted athlete, but I decided to get bigger and stronger. I decided to do those types of things. And it wasn't simply, I was just born that way. I wish I was. If I was born to be that big, then maybe I would have gotten to 250 and I would have been that much better. But that's the type of thing. So people that end up making it, for the most part, they have something within them that says you must maximize your potential and your ability. And it's almost like it can be a madness. It could be everyone else is going to their dances, everything else, everyone else is doing all these other things, and you're like, no, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to do that? I want to get better at baseball. I want to be stronger. I want to be a dude. And this is the mentality. And you see people that they go a long way, and then they look back. Why would I want to have been going to this stuff when I was younger? I'm thankful. I thank God that I had a dad that pushed me because I got to do an incredible thing. I got to live my dream. And now I'm getting to coach a lot of tremendous, talented kids. And I guarantee I already know because I see kids, I know who's good. And I know a lot of the kids I'm working with right now, for sure, a lot of them are going to play Division One, and there'll be guys playing pro, and hopefully some guys major leagues. That's how talented these guys are that I'm working with, and it's just a privilege. And I'm glad that I was pushed like that. I'm glad that I got to be pushed because now I get to share what that means. What does it mean to work hard? What does it mean to love something, to dedicate yourself to something, to want to be a dude? And it means more than what people think. A lot of people that didn't play sports, they think that their kid's working hard when he's coming out to practice a couple times a week and he's going to a couple tournaments a month, and then what's he doing the rest of the time? Not much. And they don't realize there's guys doing a lot more. And maybe at a young age it could be other sports and working hard doing that, and that's also good. But as you get older, you're really dedicating yourself to a sport, and that's just what it takes. And so that's kind of my background and what I saw. And a lot of, man, and I loved a lot of it, but some of it was like, man, this is torture. How come I can't be just like everybody else? But then you look back and you're like, wow, only regret is that I wish I could have given even more to baseball, even more to working out, even more to becoming a dude, because you look back and that's what it's about. So I'm thankful for it. And but the rest, as I keep going, as I keep getting older, is working hard because the grind is the dream.